Okay, imagine for a second that changing just one single variable in your daily routine could literally rewire your brain, like completely transform your entire identity. Sounds a bit out there, right? Well, today in this explainer, we are breaking down a seriously fascinating presentation from the YouTube channel Crumpling Psychology. They present a highly structured, scientifically backed argument for doing exactly that. And it's built around a pretty bold premise, taking on a 90-day challenge to wake up at 4 a.m. every single day. The narrator actually adopts the persona of the legendary self-help author Napoleon Hill and outlines this rigorous blueprint that claims to fundamentally shift how you operate in the world. It's demanding, for sure, but the framework is incredibly detailed. So let's look at exactly how they break this down. All right, let's dive into this roadmap. First up, we'll look at the power of 4 a.m., then the gradual shift strategy, the golden morning routine, the 90-day timeline, and finally, the rules for ultimate success. Let's get into it. So starting with part 1, the power of 4 a.m. and how to go from average to extraordinary. Right out of the gate, the source material sets up a really stark contrast. It frames your wake-up time not just as, a scheduling preference, but as a defining line between living an average life and an extraordinary one. The Napoleon Hill persona states it pretty clearly. He says average people wake up at 7 or 8 a.m., but those who want extraordinary results do extraordinary things. Now, the source isn't judging the 8 a.m. wake up. They actually acknowledge you can totally still be successful waking up later, but it positions the 4 a.m. wake up as this intentional, extraordinary act of sacrifice. It's all about giving up the comfort of that warm blanket while the rest of the world is sleeping, specifically so you can build your dreams while others are literally just dreaming theirs. But hey, it's not just about raw willpower here. The source leans heavily into biology to back up this demanding schedule, specifically your circadian rhythm. Your body's internal clock that syncs with the sunrise. According to the video, as the sun starts to rise, your body releases a hormone called cortisol. Now, usually we hear about cortisol and think, oh, stress hormone, right? But here it's highlighted as the chemical that makes you alert and energetic. And here's the crucial part. The video claims this natural cortisol release peaks right between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. So by waking up at 4, you aren't fighting your body. You're actually catching a natural energy wave. Plus, because your brain has spent the whole night processing info and consolidating memories, your willpower and decision-making capabilities, they are at their absolute peak. And this leads to a massive psychological advantage. Think about it. On one hand, waking up at 7 or 8 a.m. instantly throws you into reactive mode. You're rushing to shower, grabbing a quick breakfast, bolting to work, and immediately responding to everyone else's messages and demands. You're already behind. But on the other hand, waking at 4 a.m. puts you firmly in proactive mode. It literally hands you a 3 to 4 hour lead on the world. These are your golden hours. No one is texting you. There is zero demands. It is just a completely insulated window of deep focus where you can work proactively on your own personal goals. Moving on to part 2, the gradual shift strategy, or how to shift your sleep without totally shocking your system. Now, the narrator fully anticipates our resistance here. They get it. We're all glued to our screens, scrolling social media, binge-watching shows until midnight. Going to bed at 8 a.m. sounds, well, completely crazy. So they don't expect a sudden, jarring shock to your system. Instead, the strategy is a methodical 30-minute shift each week. If you currently sleep at midnight and wake at 8 a.m., week 1 just means sleeping at 11:30 p.m. and waking at 7:30 a.m. Easy, right? By week 4, you're down to a 10 p.m. bedtime and a 6 a.m. wake time. And finally, by week 8, you hit the target, asleep by 8 p.m., awake by 4 a.m. The video emphasizes that this gradual 8-week on-ramp gives your body the time to adjust naturally. So for the rest of the challenge, you're totally locked in and ready for the real magic of neural rewiring to happen. Which brings us to part 3, the golden morning routine. Exactly how to maximize that fresh brain function. Because let's be real, waking up early is totally useless if you just sit on the couch scrolling through your phone. So the source gives us a highly optimized blueprint. At 4 a.m., the absolute rule is immediate action. You wake, drink water, stretch, and whatever you do, never go back to sleep. At 4:15 a.m., you dedicate 30 minutes to meditation or mindfulness. The video claims this actually strengthens your brain's prefrontal cortex, which boosts your focus and emotional intelligence. Then at 4:44 a.m., it's time to sweat. They make a fascinating point here. Morning exercise doesn't just release endorphins. It actually creates BDNF proteins in the brain, which literally help build new neurons. Talk about a brain hack. At 5:30 a.m., you jump into a cold shower for circulation and mental toughness. And finally, by 6:30 a.m., while almost everyone else is still dead asleep, you lock into a state of deep focus on your most important personal goal or project. You've basically won the day before it even officially begins. Next up is Section 4, the 90-day timeline. Basically, your hero's journey through this challenge. So, how does this actually feel to execute over 3 solid months? Well, the source warns it absolutely won't be easy. They map out the psychological friction phase by phase. Step 1 is the struggle. That's the first 2 weeks. Your body will violently resist. Your brain is going to beg for just 5 more minutes. The key is taking action before you even have time to think. Step 2 is adjustment in weeks 3 and 4. Waking up gets a bit easier. You've got more energy, but watch out. This is the danger zone for weekend relapses. The temptation to sleep in on Saturday will be huge. Step 3, covering weeks 5 to 8, is the transformation. The source claims this is when your neural pathways actually start to rewire. People might even start noticing a change in your confidence and positivity. Finally, step 4 is mastery in weeks 9 through 12. This is the ultimate goal. No more alarms. Your internal clock just naturally wakes you at 4 a.m., and this profound identity shift happens. You don't have to force yourself to be an early riser anymore. It's just who you are. And finally, Section 5, Rules for Success, the non-negotiable boundaries you need to set. So the crucial point is, to protect this fragile new routine, you need some ironclad environmental boundaries to eliminate excuses. First, put your alarm across the room so you physically have to stand up to turn it off. Prepare your clothes the night before, because a 4 a.m. brain really shouldn't be making wardrobe choices. Limit those blue light screens at least an hour before bed so your body can actually produce melatonin. Keep your bedroom completely dark and cool. The video specifically recommends between 18 to 20 degrees Celsius for optimal deep sleep. Oh, and visually track your progress with check marks on a calendar. There's real psychology behind seeing that chain of ticks. It makes you super reluctant to break your streak. Now check out this standout statistic from the source material, 65 to 70%. The video cites studies suggesting that finding an accountability partner, someone you literally text every single morning the moment you wake up, boosts your success rate by an astonishing 65 to 70%. It takes this solitary, really tough struggle and turns it into a shared commitment. But the video also lays down some pretty stern warnings. On the do side, you absolutely must maintain that 4 a.m. wake-up time on weekends. Treating weekends as cheat days will just shatter that newly formed circadian rhythm and make Monday an absolute nightmare. On the don't side, the goal is never, ever sleep deprivation. You shouldn't be relying on caffeine to drag yourself through the day, and you absolutely cannot sacrifice your mandatory 7 to 8 hours of sleep. If you're up at 4 a.m., you need to be asleep by 8 or 9 p.m. It requires serious discipline at both ends of the day. The video wraps up by challenging its audience with a really great point. Successful people don't rely on massive, dramatic leaps. They rely on simple, basic disciplines executed with ruthless consistency over time. So looking at the science, the strict 8-week gradual shift, and that highly optimized morning routine we just broke down, are you ready to accept the 90-day challenge and completely reshape your identity? It is a massive commitment, for sure, but the blueprint is right there. Thanks for joining me as we unpacked this demanding framework in today's explainer. Keep learning, stay focused, and I'll catch you on the next one.